Convinced there is nothing better, by Krishna's mercy. Teshang gyani nityayukt ek bhaktir vishishyate priyo hi gyanino tirtham aham satchamam priyah. Quote, "Of these, the wise one who is in full knowledge and union with me through pure devotional service is the best. For I am very dear to him, and he is dear to me." Lord Krishna, Bhagavad-gita 7:17.
Within discussions of the science of self-realization, in the specific implementation known as Bhakti Yoga, you often find these qualifiers. I believe it is a way to measure progress, to compare those who are advanced against those who might be just beginning. You get this tag of pure devotion, which implies that there is an impure kind of devotion. One person does not want anything from the Supreme Lord, who is a person, whereas another worshipper still has some lingering desires, which are material in nature. Then you get into the whole dichotomy of Vaidhi Bhakti and Raganuga Bhakti. One is devotion through following the rules. You might say that is the Pancharatrika Vidhi, wherein you worship the deity and abide by standards of cleanliness. There is also Bhagavat Vidhi, which is chanting the holy names, hearing from sacred texts of devotion, and describing God to others. Whichever side you decide to lean into, there is always this kind of dividing line between formality and informality. To cite a classic example, you have the gopis of Vrindavan. They are essentially village girls. They speak to Krishna, who is the supreme personality of Godhead, in the local language. This is much less formal than, say, someone offering prayers in Sanskrit within a temple setting, which creates a mood of reverence. The gopis might chastise Krishna like anything. They make fun of him. They point out demerits to his behavior and qualities, charitra. There is no one more dear to Krishna than the gopis. Quote, "An old woman in Vrindavan, present at the time of Krishna's pastimes, once stated in surprise, 'How wonderful it is that Krishna, who owns the hearts of all the young girls of Brajabhumi, can nicely speak the language of Brajabhumi with the gopis, while in Sanskrit he speaks with the demigods, and in the language of the animals he can even speak with the cows and buffalo. Similarly, in the language of the Kashmir province, and with the parrots and other birds, as well as in most common languages, Krishna is so expressive.'" The Nectar of Devotion, Chach 21. I guess my confusion is on the other side of things, where you have identifiable intelligence. How can someone who is realized in the self also be spontaneous in their devotion? How can the intelligent be considered innocent? We adore children for their innocence. Their desire for play, for companionship, for meeting with others is rooted in innocence. They have yet to be jaded by this cruel and heartless world. It makes sense that the same innocence would be rewarded in devotional life. But then why are we taking the path of knowledge? Where does Gyan fit into all this? Does not knowledge destroy innocence? How can the intelligent person be sort of casual in their relationship with God? Is advancement in knowledge not a hindrance, then? Does it not create a barrier in the interactions with the one who is all attractive? Do you not see a contradiction here?
There is a section in Bhagavad-gita where we learn of the 4 general categories of worshippers based on their initial approach to Krishna. One person wants wealth. Another person is in distress. There is another person who is simply inquisitive. Then there is someone who is already in knowledge of the Absolute. They are the Jnani. Krishna says that of the 4 groups, the Jnani is the best, provided they continue in devotion. Why would there be designations in the first place? Is not every individual a spirit soul? Is not spirit soul present across all instances of life? Is not soul the very definition of life? How can one soul be more approved in their worship, which is their dharma, than another soul? How can dharma have qualifications? The Jnani in this case is convinced that there is nothing better in the life experience. The others are also dear to Krishna. They at least make the approach. Since they have outside desires, the response they receive has the potential to cause a divergence. The fact that they are looking for a response indicates a vulnerability to the dealings. Once a person becomes wealthy, for instance, they might not approach Krishna again until they need something. There is certainly a danger in becoming too proud of knowledge that is acquired. There is the saying that a little Sanskrit knowledge is dangerous. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, in accordance with all teachers of the Vaishnava line, places emphasis on personalism. He warns against going the way of the Mayavadi, who is the impersonalist. I might become so puffed up in my knowledge in proving my Gyan that I consider God to not exist. I speculate that everyone is God. You are God, and so am I. Therefore, I do not need to worship. Krishna is merely an elevated representation of the Brahman energy, of which we are all a part. Since I am Brahman realized through my Gyan, I am eligible to be worshipped, along with other rare but advanced souls. Shri Bhagavan Uvach Aham Bhakta Paradhino Hyaswatantra Ev Dvij Sadhubhirgrasta Hridayo Bhakter Bhakta Janapriya. Quote, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said to the Brahmana, I am completely under the control of my devotees. Indeed, I am not at all independent. Because my devotees are completely devoid of material desires, I sit only within the cores of their hearts. What to speak of my devotee? Even those who are devotees of my devotee are very dear to me. Srimad Bhagavatam 9.463. The pure devotee can be found in any walk of life. It is not that spontaneous devotion is exclusive to simple or humble circumstances. We have the 12 Mahajans identified in Srimad Bhagavatam. These are elevated and knowledgeable souls. They are also spontaneous in their devotion. No one can convince them of any other path in life. Swayambhur Narad Shambhu Kumara Kapilo Manu Prahlado Janako Bhishmo Balir Vayyaskir Vayam Dwadashaite Vijanimo Dharmam Bhagavatam Bhatta Guhyam Vishuddham Durbodham Yam Jhatvamritam Ashnute. Quote, Lord Brahma, Bhagwan Narad, Lord Shiva, the 4 Kumaras, Lord Kapila, the son of Devahuti, Swayambhuva Manu, Prahlad Maharaj, Janak Maharaj, Grandfather Bhishma, Bali Maharaj, Shukadeva Goswami, and I myself know the real religious principle. My dear servants, this transcendental religious principle, which is known as Bhagavad Dharma, or surrender unto the Supreme Lord and love for Him, is uncontaminated by the material modes of nature. It is very confidential and difficult for ordinary human beings to understand, but if by chance one fortunately understands it, he is immediately liberated, and thus he returns home, back to Godhead. Srimad Bhagavatam 6.3.20-21. In closing, intelligence not to contradict, for success in bhakti predict. Children as innocent considered, how the clever then delivered. Idea that nothing better to see, everything in connection to be. Beloved even those of knowledge profound, like pure devotion in Mahajanas found.